All right, time now, 47 minutes after the hour. Back to school just days away for much of the U.S., but uncertainty about how to return to learning is only growing. The American Academy of Pediatrics reporting nearly 100,000 kids testing positive for COVID during the last 2 weeks of July. So what is safe for America's students?
Our next guest is leading rallies to get them back in the classroom. Dr. Jeff Barke joins us now with his message. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Good morning, Jillian and Todd. Thank you very much for having me.
Of course. So why do you think it's important for kids to be back in the classroom this fall?
Well, listen, you reported some numbers. I wish what you would also report is the number of kids that are exposed every year to influenza and, more importantly, that die from influenza, and contrast that to COVID-19. When kids get COVID-19, first of all, they either have no symptoms or they usually have mild symptoms at all. In Orange County, California, we've had exactly 0 deaths from COVID-19 and only 1 death in the entire state of California. It's critical that kids get back to school because they're being hurt more from being out of school than they are from the virus.
You mentioned numbers. Let's go over those COVID numbers in Orange County. Cases just under 40,000, cases under 18, about 2,800. That is about 7% of cases. Deaths, 726. That is total number of deaths. That is not specifically related to kids, and a little bit less than 500,000 people tested. You know, the teachers union there in Orange County has a different take on this than obviously you. Here's what they say. This is another desperate grab for attention in their struggle to stay relevant. Governor Newsom made the decision to close schools, not the unions. Our priority is the safety of staff and students. Doctor, they say this is about safety. Is your plan unsafe?
Yeah, let's talk about what the unions actually want. What they want, UTLA, the second largest teachers union in the country, what they want, they put forward a list of demands, a ransom list, if you will, that includes the abolition of all charter schools, Medicare for all, defunding the police, and removing all police officers from high school campuses. What does that have to do with education? It is perfectly safe to send kids to school. Just look at the numbers and look at the science and remember what's happening to those kids by keeping them home. We have the highest suicide rate we've seen amongst children. There are more kids that have died from suicide that have died from COVID-19, not to mention increase in depression, increase in child abuse, increase in sex trafficking, and even the teachers union themselves acknowledge that distance learning is a failure. It's time to get kids back to school.
Doctor, there's definitely an argument to be had as to, why it's difficult to have kids out of school for so long, to keep them away from friends and to develop those, socialization skills. But just to push back for a second here, in Mississippi, there was a school that reopened. Over 100 kids are now in quarantining after 15 kids tested positive for COVID. We're being told that none of the kids actually contracted the virus at the school. Every single one of them brought it into the school and had contracted it out in the community. In Georgia, we saw photos of a packed high school, a hallway there. They reportedly had 9 cases of confirmed COVID-19. They're doing digital learning now. So there are reasons for people to be worried across the country. And I guess the question is, in looking at those scenarios, what can we learn from them now to make sure the schools that are reopening aren't going to experience this?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, we need to stop living our lives with fear. Do we ever close schools because of influenza season? Do we ever require kids to wear masks because of influenza season? Of course, the answer is no. We need to look at this carefully and look at the science. Cases, somebody getting ill from the virus or contracting the virus and testing positive, is very different than illness. When kids get this virus, they either have no symptoms at all or they have very mild symptoms. And most importantly, there is almost no cases of a school-aged child passing this virus on to a teacher. A teacher, as a matter of fact, has a greater risk in the teacher lounge spreading the virus teacher to teacher than they do in a classroom. And we need to keep in mind also the effect that we're having on kids by keeping them home. And that's the problem.
All right, sir. We appreciate your time this morning. This is obviously the focus of the next couple of weeks. Dr. Jeff Barke, thank you so much, and we'll be right back.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.